Welcome, Battle Brothers. Today we are looking at Doom, Astartes 40k mod. Created by nekostuffing, it uses a lot of aspects from older versions of Brutal Doom, so it's not a complete overhaul. But it does mean you get to use grenades, and you can never have enough grenades. Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to the chapter. We have another Doom 40k mod review on the way. Now, let's begin the review. Doom and 40k. Job done, right? Well, not quite. The mod isn't finished yet, but there's definitely fun to be had. So we're going to start with the good and then move on to the bad. So I hope that we can all give nekostuffing our support. You're greeted with a nice title screen. You can choose between Blood Angel or Black Templar. Each has a unique weapon, and each has its own unique character model, which is a nice touch. We get our standard Doom difficulties: Nightmare, Hurt Me Plenty, etc, etc. Black Templars get a sword and shield. Blood Angels get the chance to do some Imperial fisting. Rip and tear in the name of the Emperor, you filthy heretic scum. If you're playing Doom 2, just go and grab the chainsword, which replaces a chainsaw. We all know where it is, and if you don't, go and find it. I'll prefer the chainsword because, well, it's a chainsword. Also, amusingly, we have the Space Marines Big Boot. Great for stamping down Xeno scum. The weapons. The bolter feels great. Meaty, heavy, and devastating. This is the only gun you need for the whole game, really. The other standout is the heavy bolter. Just look at that. Immense. That is what we signed up for. Notice how the screen goes black just after using it, as if you called on the dark gods themselves. Heresy, but fun. The shotgun feels nice, again quite meaty, but not as satisfying as the bolter. Every FPS needs a satisfying shotgun. It's a shame this one has been a little bit overshadowed. The other weapons, they're okay. They do their job. Again, it's a work in progress, so let's not be too harsh here. The flamer though, I have to say, is a real letdown. It kind of feels like the standard Doom plasma gun, except you can't see where you're shooting the bloody thing. It feels a little bit flimsy and also a little bit light, not satisfying at all. We really need to have some sort of alternative sprites for burning enemies, like the ones from Blood, running around, screaming on fire. Yes, now that would work. Cultists from Blood would make, well, great chaos cultists, wouldn't they? So, let's see that in the next patch. The rocket launcher is cool, but somewhat of a missed opportunity. Something that would be great would be missile choices, or perhaps alternative fire. Imagine loading up a crack missile and rending a cyber demon from long range. Now that would be just awesome. Or even better, a vortex missile. Drag those demons back into the warp where they belong. As it stands, the rocket launcher is passable. But the grenade launcher, wow, that thing packs a punch. Some nice splash damage going down there. Sadly, the storm bolter needs some real work. Somehow it feels less powerful than the bolter. And it's hard to see from the videos, but it's really hard to aim. Feels off-centered somehow. Now, I always imagined a storm bolter being just two bolters stuck together. Might sound a little bit orky, but that's how I think about it. This one feels more like an assault cannon with that sort of high rate of fire. The plasma gun, yeah, it feels okay. Would be nice if you could choose your power level on this. Also, some melting enemies would just be sublime. You can play this WAD with other versions, but it just doesn't always work correctly. Now with other versions I've noticed that there is a heavy plasma which kind of functions in the same way as the BFG. The las cannon, if you could hit anything with it, again, is a bit underwhelming. Would be cool if it did some sort of railgun-like damage. cutting through enemies like butter. Just doesn't feel powerful enough somehow. You know, it's in the name really. Something with the name Las Cannon. I need it to feel visceral. I want to feel it in my bones. Power-ups are your standard armor, ammo, health, etc. Something that is interesting is that on your HUD you get your little Mark 7 Space Marine power armor face. Nice little touch there. And I like it how your visor shatters when you die. Not that these pathetic scum could put down the Emperor's finest. This was just a feint, you know, to lure the enemy into a trap. Yes, that's what's happening here. Other detractions. This mod is unfinished, so I'm not going to be ripping it apart like a tyrannid, but there are a few real letdowns. The maps, just your standard Doom 2 WODs here. Would be great to see some Imperial Gothic architecture. The mod maker does suggest using some different map packs in conjunction with this, but really it's screaming out for its own custom levels, based maybe in the warp, with all sort of manner of warp craziness going on, perhaps in an Imperial Bastion, who knows. The same thing goes for your enemies. These are just your usual Doom crew here. I mean, it already has demons in Doom. Why not change these sprites up a little bit to some 40k nasties that we already know? Zombies could be cultists, imps could be bloodletters, Hell Knights could be Chaos Space Marine Terminators, and the Cyber Demon? Well, that could just be the Cyber Demon, couldn't it? Something that is quite annoying is the weird noise that you make when you're walking around. I think it's meant to be the Astartes' feet clanking against the metal floor in its power armor, but it's just a bit off-putting, to be honest. Bin this off in the next patch. Also, perhaps it's my settings, but the levels seem abnormally dark. I noticed there is a flashlight that you can use in your inventory, but why would the Astartes need a flashlight? I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, I think really this is getting in the way of the grimdark, and it's the wrong kind of grimdark. Frustrating, keeps me away from my purge. Well, that's about it. The mod maker does suggest using a provided 40k music pack, but I would suggest maybe something else. Perhaps go back to the 80s GW, put on some Bolt Throw. Now we're talking. So in conclusion, this is a respectable outing. Not the best Doom mod out there, but certainly not the worst. The only way to play this mod, in my opinion, is IDKFA. Rinse it up with that glorious heavy bolter. Now, if you want to try this mod, head over to Doom World and check out the links in the comments below. Is this the best Doom 40k mod out there? It might well be so, because unbelievably, there aren't many 40k Doom mods out there, but I have found another. Next, we have Space Hulk Doom. Now that does sound interesting, doesn't it? So why not join the chapter, subscribe and like. While you do that, I'll be heading to the boarding torpedo, because there are some Xenos that need expunging in the next review. Take care, brothers. See you later.